I'm very proud to be invited here today to speak with you at the launch of another epic title in the long line of books written by Dr. Saiful Bahri at the Oxford Centre for Leadership, Oxcel. Following on from the video, I think let me begin with a thought. To acquire knowledge, one must study. To acquire wisdom, one must observe. Something that the whole Oxcel framework brings together in their range of programs. Anyway, I've known Dr. Saiful now for almost 2 years. And I'll be honest, I'm never at a loss for words when I have to speak about him. There are so many, let's say, assets, so many highlights in his character that my only trouble is finding different ways to say what I think. Let me define the word character that fits Dr. Saiful perfectly. Character is what you are willing to do when the spotlight has been turned off, when the applause has died down, and no one is around to give you credit. I think that those around here who know Dr. Saiful would agree with that sentiment. Now, this new book, A Journey Between a Father and a Son. Another author once said that children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they never fail to imitate them. Dr. Saiful and his son, Fazli, have a special bond. I know myself how valuable this father-son relationship is. In the last few years of my father's life, I spent a lot of time with him through circumstances beyond my control. But I'll never forget, the times we had were wonderful. We developed and nurtured a special bond ourselves. I knew I could always learn from him, challenge him, love him, but most important, respect him. He was my dad, he was my friend, my soulmate, and without doubt, my inspiration. But we take a look at these two gentlemen sitting at the front here. Father and son, they're still on their journey, learning from each other, about each other, and because of each other. Now, some of you may remember the famous singer, Cat Stevens. He is actually now known as Yusuf Islam. But he wrote one of his most memorable songs called Father and Son. And I'd like to quote just a little bit from when the father is talking to the son. He said, "I was once like you were now, and I know that it's not easy. But take your time, think a lot, just think of everything you've got. For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not." And that, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is so important in this day and age. The dreams, the aspirations that can be so easily nurtured, sadly so easily destroyed. But before we move on, a bit of Latin. Some of you may know this, but the phrase carpe diem, it means to seize the day. Dr. Saiful, Fazli, you've seized it, you're holding on tight, well done. Now, moving on. This afternoon I have the wonderful duty to introduce another gentleman who will be speaking to you today about Dr. Saiful's new book entitled My Business Icon. As a senior facilitator of the Oxcel program, well-read, well-travelled, very well qualified, and extremely well suited to offer his testimonial on the new book, it is my pleasure to introduce and offer a very warm welcome to Dr. Peter Shepherd.
Quite as tall. I should say, Honourable Minister, distinguished guests, of course our MC for the day, fellow Englishmen, also lived in Malaysia, such as I have for a few years, and maybe the only thing I can say to the rest of us here, welcome along. And I know that in one way I'm sort of coming in between you and your lunch, so I will try to make this what sometimes I think is really the epitome of the book, concise, hopefully I can also make it as clear as the book is. I maybe just have a small one-upmanship that I've known Dr. Seifel, but only a few years longer than RMC. I think since around 2006, when we met at the IFDDO conference. We were on a committee together. And I think what impressed me was his youthfulness, despite being a father, his enthusiasm and sincerity. And he is perhaps somewhat like myself, an academic turned into an entrepreneur. Sometimes the two don't always gel. They say academics are too theoretical. And maybe entrepreneurs sometimes don't know enough of theory, and especially when they're talking to their bank manager, and then they fail somewhere along the line. And I think what is excellent about this book is, as I said, it is concise, it is clear, but equally it has all the things you need to know in little, what I call easily read, simple text, bite-sized chunks. And so really what I like about this is the storyline that runs through it, the journey of the father and the son across Europe. I'm also a father, and I have, however, not 2 sons, but 2 daughters, and they are, well, 19 and 22. And so I think a different relationship, of course, occurs, but there is always this, I think, nurturing spirit that we often wonder how our sons and daughters may actually turn out. And what I liked about, particularly in this book, I think page 5 from memory, was where they're talking about talent and knowing what you're good at, and then finding something that you can also enjoy. So I guess I've also observed the son from moment to moment, and I'm assuming he's finding his talent and enjoying what he's doing. But I think with the journey through Europe and the reflections that they stopped and thought about life, about entrepreneurship. And I think the first chapter is rather interesting. It's very, shall we say, diagnostic, in that sense that it asks you to discover yourself. And so even while I was reading it, it poses the many types of entrepreneur that are there. And I was sort of trying to work out what type of entrepreneur I might have been or might become. And I found it quite stimulating in that manner. So, as I've said, that I think it's all there in 100 pages or so. And what I like is its conciseness, its clarity. It's serious stuff in one way, and yet, as I said, simple, bite-sized chunks, easily digestible. And I think that with a nice beginning and a nice end, the SWOT analysis also comes at the end. So you diagnose yourself at the beginning and you diagnose yourself at the end. And in there are all the little capsules, the gems, if you like, that you might need to know about in terms of becoming an entrepreneur and being an entrepreneur. And one of the most biggest challenges is, of course, sustaining yourself as an entrepreneur. And so from image, from branding, from choosing a company name, a product name, even a business card, these all little tips that very often we don't actually learn about when we go to business school. And it sort of reminds me of that famous little booklet, you know, that all you ever needed to know about an MBA, you know, in 100 pages. And in a way, it's full of little practical tips. So that I very much like, and I'm sure all of us will read it, but particularly the storyline and the travel and the reminiscences and the reflections between father and son give it an added twist, makes it quite an interesting and innovative type of book. And I think entrepreneurship is all about innovation. So I applaud you, Dr. Seifel, and I guess I should also have to say Cheryl, but I don't know how much you wrote in it and how much father wrote in it, puzzling, trying to see which parts of the both of you are in there. But congratulations. I think it's a wonderful, practical little tool for would-be entrepreneurs, but even those who've been entrepreneurs for many, many years, I think it forces quite indeed some introspection and reflection. So once again, congratulations.